Phew. All right, welcome to Brohams. All right, mate, like, here we are. I'm gonna teach you some basics. Later on in the series, we're gonna go through a bit more advanced stuff. It's all about skateboarding. This is the skateboard. On top of the skateboard, you have what's called the grip tape. Underneath the grip tape, you have trucks. These are the wheels. Inside the wheels are bearings. And attaching the trucks to the board is hardware. Yeah, with your skateboard, you're gonna have your nose and your tail. Your nose is always gonna be a little bit bigger with the concave than the tail, unless you have a symmetrical shaped board. Nose is usually for a nollie type tricks. So when you pop off the nose, your tail is just for your regular ollies, your flip tricks, your turning, and your pivoting. You got to figure out, first of all, if you're goofy footed or regular footed. Essentially, it goes across all board spots. A good way to find out what stance you have, whether you're left or right foot forward, is to put your feet together like this, and you just pretend somebody is pushing you in the back and you're falling forward. So naturally, you're going to put your front foot forward. And right now, I have my right foot forward. So my right foot forward means I'm goofy footed. If I were to do this exercise again, and I find my left foot coming forward, that would mean that I'm regular footed. Now that you know your stance, you're going to have to learn the fundamentals of where to stand on the board. So you want your board somewhere nice and flat, right? You can even use a crack to stop it from rolling away. You always put your front foot on first, and I'm a goofy footer. So I'm gonna put my right foot over the bolts. You don't wanna have your foot too far forward, because if you have your foot too far forward when you roll, you're gonna fall off the front of the board. Too far back, you're gonna slip out backwards. And believe me, that's not fun. I have a little pro trick that I'm gonna teach you. You want to have your front foot over the bolts, and you want to have two bolts looking at you, and you want to cover two bolts. That right there is the perfect foot positioning. So when you push, your body faces forward. When you're cruising, you rotate your feet so that all four bolts are covered. You don't want to see any bolts when you're rolling. If you ever get lost, or if you ever get confused where should I stand, just remember one thing and one thing alone. Keep your feet over the bolts. That's always going to be crucial. Like, no matter what point of skateboarding you're at, whether you're doing massive tricks, whether you're rolling from A to B, or you're hitting half pipes and transition. That's always how you want to land, and that's always where you want your feet to be. All right, so see how I'm standing right now? It's nice and stable. I've got a perfectly centered balance point. I'm not leaning back, I'm not leaning forwards. I just simply have my feet over the bolts, bent knees, nice and relaxed. You want to be super relaxed. You don't want to be stiff, you don't want to be tight, you don't want to tense up. Skateboarding, trust me, the more you chill out while you try your tricks, the more relaxed you are, like the easier it's gonna be. All right, so now that we know how to stand on the board, I'm gonna go through the basics of pushing. So as I said, you cover two, you have two looking back at you. When you first start, you just wanna take one push, and I really do stress this. If you're a beginner standing on a skateboard for the first time, don't try to pick your speed up, don't take heaps of pushes. Just one gentle push, feet go over the bolts. So if you're watching this, ready? One push, rotate, feet over the bolts. Nice and simple. So I've gone over how to take a push, and that's a real good start. But another thing to keep in mind is how do I stop at this sort of level, because yeah, it's pretty scary to start like rolling on a board, you know, there's 4 wheels and a piece of wood. If you're starting to learn how to stand on your board and like it gets a bit much, you can always just simply step off. Worst case scenario, because you won't be going too quick if you're just taking 1 push at a time. So the worst case scenario is just jump off. And you always jump off sideways. You don't jump off forwards, you don't jump off backwards. All right, so that's it for the first episode. In the next episode, we'll cover some more of the basics. I'm going to teach you how to link your pushes together and some of the turning. So like, subscribe, stay tuned, and some killer content is coming to you soon. Yo!